frames, elbow to his armpit, hand to his hip. I need to kill this frame here. If I don't kill this frame and I go north-south, he pushes, and he has options to escape. So I use my hip to kill that frame. Walking around, and once I get to north-south, hand comes around, and I make my connection there. I start walking, this hand's looking, but taking a little bit extra time to walk that connection and make it a solid connection. Now I'm coming in here, and I'm looking for that second attachment right there. Thumb can go in, but it doesn't have to. Here, and I just connect there. And that is the paper cutter choke. So let's practice that back and forth with our partners. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's do kind of a live go of this. Okay, so I'm gonna work myself into the paper cutter choke into you. So give me some live resistance, but we'll start here where I need to get past your guard. So I want to demonstrate connections through the entire process instead of just from that starting side control position. So boom, forming connections. Now look at, I dropped into that elbow position. So I'm already there. Connecting my head to his hip to help shut down his movement.
So the drill would be the bottom guy's gonna provide some movement, and top guy explore those different connection points. Don't just use the hands. Think about the elbows, forearms, shoulders, hooking, pulling, pushing. Bottom guy, just gonna move your feet around, push on their hips, on their shoulders. You can hook the knees if you want. When he hooks, I can use my knee and my shin to clear that hook, and then come around. Use my ankle here on his ankle. Pull the knee in, push it over. If you pass, just kind of reset and then keep going with that drill. 1, 2, 3. His arms, his collar. Let him work those too.
So one thing that I do on the top to avoid that is more connection with my knee. So as Peter starts to shrimp out there, I'm just pinching. So even if he gets my foot here, go Peter. I'm just keeping a really tight connection with my knee. So it's really hard for him. It's really low energy for me and really high energy for him. So that's one aspect, is the knee pinch. Part 2 of this is as he goes to get that knee, I'm also putting my weight, my knee into the ground. So this will be probably another concept we get to, is how we distribute our weight. So when we're here, I'm picking this foot up off the ground, so all my weight is on this knee. So it becomes very difficult for him to get that knee over his leg. So me and Jesse were talking about this yesterday, or on Tuesday, about people talking about why Khabib was so strong, that he feels really, really strong. This is why. It's because he understands how to connect really well and distribute his weight. So it feels like I'm really strong compared to Peter here, but really I'm not. It's just I'm connected to him in the right spot and I'm distributing my weight. So we'll just kind of play with that. Go on both sides, practice pinching your knees, have the person try and elbow knee out, and then you can switch. 1, 2, 3.
All right, so we're gonna take a look at using connection from the bottom position, especially with open guard situations where you have very limited connection to your opponent and you're trying to stay defensive and safe. You have to understand the fundamental of being able to connect to the floor and to connect to yourself while you're trying to connect to your opponent. So as they start to pass, make connections on their own, we are understanding the fundamental movement that they need, and we're tracking it with our feet. So we're tracking between the shoulder and the bicep and elbow to see what their hands and arms are doing. As they try and move our legs around, we're pummeling our feet inside to stay active, defensive, and attacking. Now, as they try and manipulate our legs, maybe push our knees to the mat, we're gonna connect our elbows to the mat and our hands to our knees. This is gonna make it very hard for our opponent to push us to one side and exploit the other side and pass. So as we work on this drill, remember pummeling is very important, keeping the feet on the inside. Try to stay at the elbow and shoulder line and follow your attacking opponent. All right, 1, 2.
You doing high end here?
It's like writing a book or something. I can still use my hands.
Hard work for me. Is it easy for you?
Yeah, talking about distributing your weight. So, right there was trying to push my leg. Great, and
just some extra thoughts on the end of this here. So Peter has my leg. He's starting to try and get back half guard. First big thing is I want to make sure I'm filling in all the space. So I don't want my knee out here for him to get his elbow in. The farther my knee gets out, the more he's winning, right? If I can start as tight as possible, now go, it's much harder for him to start making space. This is the same is true here in S mount. Oftentimes this is easy to get out because your knee's out really wide. If I just bring my knee in here, now go, it's much harder. It's still an S mount, I'm just keeping my knee in pinched tight so he can't, now I'm in trouble, right? So that's kind of the big point here is I'm filling in all that space. Then we talked about being heavy on that knee. So what's happening is now he's pushing my knee into his leg and into the floor instead of over his leg like he wants. So if I'm heavy here, now as he pushes and I pinch, he's pushing it either into his hip or into the floor. So it's making me feel a lot stronger than I really am. And then follow-ups, I can pluck the elbow like that just over and over again. Just anytime he brings that elbow in. Khabib does punches. We don't have punches when we're just practicing here, so we do chokes. As Peter starts to go here, I start looking for the choke. And then as soon as he starts defending, then I slide the knee up, and now I keep sliding up and up and up. Again, pinching my knees as tight as I can the whole time.
So Nathan was talking a lot about the knee pressure in there. You know, if the guy gets your ankle, it's knee pressure. But let's back up a step. What if you can't even get my ankle to start with? That sole of your foot and toe grip I was talking about from guard when you pinch the biceps, do that same thing here on their thigh. So the top of my foot's flat on the ground and my toes are wrapping around his thigh. And as he tries to get my ankle, I track with him there. My foot's glued to the floor and I'm cupping his thigh. It's really hard to get the ankle, which slows him down even more because he needs to get the ankle to get the knee. So I just track with him there. Like that. If he does get the ankle, it's like, oh, I got my ankle. Well, now I have my knee. I do the same thing Nathan did. There. and I'm already defending that. So taking a step back further and just using that cup of the foot on the thigh as you do this.
Right, so we form connections to prevent movement, predict movement, promote movement, and we connect to a person, to the ground, or to ourself. And our connections affect one of those areas. All right, let's get to live rounds. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Just some quick debriefing up here. Can I borrow you? Man, you know, the principle of connections. My goal is that this is the first of many connections, 32, that we're going to be taking a look at. And next week when we go into principle 2, detachment, it's not like we're putting connections on the side. You're carrying that with you into the new principle researching that we're going to be doing. And it's a refinement process that is never ending. And felt pretty good tonight, except my match with Matt. About halfway through the match, I realized I'm overdoing it. Like, I'm working way too hard to connect to him. I just got caught up in the moment. Matt's a really strong, powerful Jiu Jitsu purple belt. And I mean strong and powerful in the best of senses. Like, you have strength within your technique. Some people, as they're starting off, they just have strength. That's all they have. And they're just trying to survive. But as you get more technique, you learn to use your strength within the technique. And you're doing that very nicely. And I found myself halfway through, like, I felt like we were doing this. And then I don't know if you felt it or not, but I shifted my mind and I was like, just connect, just connect. And then I started just connecting and everything became easier as far as like my energy output. And you know, I was having a little bit more success in kind of handling you. Nathan, what you shared, super cool, because the last half of our round, it was that concept that you were trying to stop and I was working. So let's do it on the side that I was on. So I had the mount position here. Matt was doing a good elbow knee escape. You let your elbow slip too far though, found yourself over here like this. And then it was a battle down here, and I was remembering what Nathan was teaching us, and Chad too, about finding connections, flexing your foot and curling your foot around the quad muscle as he's trying to shrimp his way back. I think you did actually end up catching my ankle at one point, and then it was that knee, like Nathan was teaching us, the Khabib smash him. And then we're dropping that knee in here like this. Notice the hip shift. Okay, I'm here, but if I just stay here, go ahead, keep going. My knee's too light. So I pinch the knee in, and then I'm shifting here. There, right there like that. And then it was a battle here. And then I worked this arm out here like this. And I really wanted the Americana. There was other things that I could have done, but we spent some time on the Americana, and I really wanted it. So then it was a matter of connecting my elbow over here. Okay, so I'm smashing here, and then I'm flattening them back out, and then finding that connection there. And then time ran out before I was able to go any further with this. But that was a fun sequence, utilizing all of these principles of connection that we've been spending so much time on. So great job tonight, guys. Bring it in.